The Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Welcome to the budget meeting. Our navigators, as always, will be thank you, Veronica and Phil. We'll make sure that we're at the right page. We will go into each of the departments. We will make a motion to accept the budget and then open it up for any discussion. And the department at that point can answer any questions. Phil can throw himself in there as well. So let's start right out with Operation Oswego County. Austin.
Hi.
Like make a motion to discuss passing the budget for Operation Oswego County. Second. Discussion.
Just want to say that so the funding level this year is no increase in request for funding.
I'm sorry,
What page, what line are we looking at?
page two.
There's separate packets
Yep,
in your box.
the little packets and your big budget, it will be on page 2.
What do you want us to do, the little packets, the big packets?
Whichever one you
The
want.
little packets are just to back up their actual application.
That's the application that they gave us, each of these, which are on page 2. And so it's like the backup, but page 2 on the main budget, it's right there. Everybody locate it? Page 2 of the main book.
This book. It's in, you don't have the loose packets?
Yeah, I have loose packet.
And then it's in your file. Right here, it's in this file.
Yeah.
You're gonna want a copy of this for that.
Oh, yeah.
That,
This is just the backup.
Yeah.
Book.
here. Yeah, and I'll just look at this, he's got a copy of that. Which line is,
And 10, 5, 4, 6, 5, 0, 006.
okay, everybody on the same line? Frank?
Yeah, I see it. I couldn't find it earlier than I can now.
Okay. Austin?
I just want to say that the request is flat from last year, no increase. We are, obviously as an organization, we're growing. We have 6 full-time staff, and we've had all of our staff now for over a year. And everybody, the newest person's been there for over a year and a half, doing, at least in my opinion, doing good work in terms of both attracting new business, being aggressive, going out and all over and bringing things in, being very proactive in site development. We're working hand in hand with the county related to the development of new nuclear, which we see as probably our highest priority, major priority for 2026. We're developing new businesses or new programs for small business and seeking additional funding streams to help support that. So I would just say overall, we're trying to do more, but with the same funding, and we're trying to diversify some of our other funding streams to help make up for that without asking the county for additional dollars.
Any questions? For Austin? Frank?
Well, Austin and Phil, I see your total cost, okay, but where in there is the money you get from pilot, our percentage?
So that money stays directly with the IDA, and that funding is not used for any salary or personnel or any costs like that. It's specifically earmarked to do things like studies, to purchase property, to make investments. It's not used for operating expenses.
And what is that amount of money?
That amount of money is approximately $225,000.
But that's not part of this.
Correct. That's IDA funding, and it doesn't leave the IDA.
So
Right, the money goes into the IDA, then it comes in as revenue in the treasurer's office and then non-property tax line item. So it's in the treasurer's office. The money, the pilot money and tax credit money
comes out of the
budgeted in the treasurer's office.
comes out of the treasurer's office due to the IDA.
So it will never be commingled.
So it isn't part of this budget.
Okay, thank you.
No, it's very specific uses the way that funding can be utilized.
I want to make one comment, Phil. These acronyms, it's so confusing to get through this. It is not user-friendly at all.
Okay.
And some of them aren't even in there. So you spend half your time trying to figure out, I mean, it's,
Are you referring to the project numbers that are after these lines?
Budget codes, is that what you're asking?
I'm looking at the, like this OFC, OCLC.
Yeah, those are project codes. I'll
But I mean, it would be so much easier if it was just listed.
There's a
We said
space.
the
The Munis
that's what
system
we
only
asked.
allows for 5 letters.
Yeah.
But if they're missing from the acronym book, we can add that.
We
But-
can add to the acronym book.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it,
Because there's project codes throughout the entire book, so we can look through those and add them to the acronym book.
Greg?
I understand. I'm still with the acronyms, only because anybody that's looking at this, and I doubt if I asked any other legislator what, a SCD stood for, and it's not in the acronym book, they don't know what it is. But, and I know that there's only room for such and such there. Underneath, I mean, we got a whole lot of space underneath there that we could have listed those out as what they stand for. I mean, and it doesn't, it's not that you're ignorant and you don't know what they mean, but ignorant is something because you weren't trained in it. Okay? It's not a bad word, but we shouldn't have to be able to look through an acronym book and it's not there, and then find out that, well, there wasn't space for it to be in. It should be on there, so we look right at it, say, okay, this is what it stands for. Okay. ARPA, I know what ARPA stands for, okay, so yeah, all right, so, but, it's just gotta be in there. I'm sorry,
I know sometimes I have caught where I don't understand it, but I've always called Phil. Veronica couldn't have been able to tell me. But I understand what you're saying. When you're seeing it, perhaps some kind of a footnote at the bottom of the page there, we would have space
right.
to
It's
put
always-
all of the acronyms, because there is space at the bottom of 2.
Right.
So that may be helpful.
OCLC,
Or just put it in the notes.
what does OCLC
Yeah.
stand for? Mel, do you know what OCLC stands for?
OCLC?
Yeah.
Well, it's Oswego County
No, see what?
Library
That's the
Council.
library one.
Library.
Oh, library.
You were there, remember?
Was that there?
Mm-hmm.
Just saying, we can go on to the, we're done with it. Well, thank you.
Okay.
I made the point.
Any other questions for Austin? Hearing none? Oh,
I'll
I'm
just
sorry. Yeah.
comment, because I'm closely active with operations for County, and have been for 25 years. And to see the additional work that they're doing, even though they've got a little bit more staff, but the activity and the planning and the growth and the plans on how they're going to grow is very encouraging. And the fact that they're our number 1 economic development agency, just credit their work. I think you're doing a great job.
Yes. Austin has been doing a great job. It's a lot
I
of,
would highly recommend we pass this on.
Ditto.
okay.
I just want to say one thing. Yes, Austin's done a great job. I'm finding this cumbersome to get through. I did just get back from being away. I understand that meetings change.
Understood.
But, at this moment, I need to discuss more. And with the sudden change with Micron coming downstream from the federal government, which is devastating as far as I'm concerned, I'm very concerned at this moment. So I really need to have more discussion than today.
Okay. Well, the budget, we have to at least pass the budget. Are you saying you want to be more informed as we go forward?
Yes,
Okay. More informed with the economic development because of Micron?
with the budget in general, it's cumbersome for me to get through.
Okay.
I just find it difficult, and I'd like to sit down with Phil and go through it a little bit better. It's a quick go through, and it's
Okay.
very important.
Okay. Good comment. Okay.
No, the reason being, Mel, and I go through this every year, okay, is that we're being asked to say yes to Austin's budget. He's been going over it. How long ago did you start this budget process, Bill?
Well, it was submitted by August 1st.
Right, okay. So since August, okay, there's been time to look at everything. We get it last week on Thursday, right? Didn't we get it Thursday?
But Phil had it before that you
Yeah,
could have looked at it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Well, I kept asking, can we get a draft budget? And there wasn't any draft budget gonna go out until after Thursday, okay? So, but what I'm saying, Mel, is it doesn't mean that we're gonna say no to every, because we don't like the budget, but we have to be informed enough to make a true budget decision on this one, because it's not our money. And that's what we look at. And I have to be able to understand it as to why we're doing it. And given 3 days when we've had since August, which in my recollection, that's 3 months ago, right? 3 and 8 is 11. Right? And I'm just saying that I myself, if I was on this committee, I would be voting no on. Okay? And until December is when we do the final. Then we'll be more informed on it, and we may say yes, or I may say yes, okay? But that's what I'm getting at, Mel. It has nothing to do with Austin, it has nothing to do with any one of these department heads. It's the process of being able to go through everything in our minds and get a good understanding. That's all. Thank you very much for your time. I'll be back next week.
Of course you will, Frank. We look forward to it, as always.
You'll be back.
Okay,
Well, I would just add to that, we have to rely on our departments. Not everybody can be as intimately associated with a committee such as I get to see their financials monthly. That's a whole different story when you get to see them once a year. We can't be involved with all those committees, but I think whenever we can, we certainly can question directors. And what I think is maybe missing is that month to month, every couple of months, taking the time to look at where we actually are with the budget currently. So I think there's room for all of us to be more educated in the budget, different aspects.
Jim?
I guess I would add to expound on Legislator Gilson to understand your points. If and when this budget gets passed, in whatever form it gets passed in, the following year's budget starts the next day. And we get, as legislators, we get monthly reports from the administrator where we're at in the budget. So it is cumbersome, the acronyms are confusing, but the information is there for all of us to look at. Sometimes we can't decipher it, but it's there. And I guess I would tell all the legislators that, again, the next budget starts the day after this one gets accepted. So, thank you.
Well, isn't there, along with our monthly packets that we get, a regular budget sheet as to what's going on in that department? In the back of each of it?
It can be printed at any time upon request.
Right. But it's also in the packet, is what I'm saying.
But
We
many
get our
times
packet.
it's all zeros in the packet. I can go back and get some old ones. I mean, just,
And that happened once, it was an error, I think. And then it got.
Then it got fixed, I know it was once, and it was an error that went out.
Yeah.
I'm not, I got it, so. We want to get through this thing. Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay.
On the operation.
On the Operation Oswego County, that's it. That's all we're voting on right now, the Operation Oswego County.
Just need to make that.
Thank you. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? One, passed. Okay, thank you, Austin. All right, Central New York Regional Planning and Development Board. I don't know if anyone is here, but you do have it in the small packet.
What page is it in the budget?
Same page.
Same page.
Like the third one down on the top.
Yeah.
64,600. Same as last year.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll move the Central New York Regional Planning Development Board.
I'll second it.
All the, comments? Jim?
If I could just, I don't think I'd be able to be here today, but if I could just speak a little of the work that they've been doing in partnership with the county, just for the committee to hear. I know, I don't think they've been in our committee meetings in a little bit. It might not be a bad idea to schedule them and maybe in the future, but I just want to let you know, they are actively working on, I believe, 7 different local town and village comprehensive plans. I have people, myself and my staff have been in attendance with them as well in those communities. Quick rundown: town and village of Hannibal, town of Oswego, town of Volney, town and village of Mexico are all actively working with regional planning right now. So I just want to speak a little bit to what they've been doing. Obviously, I know a few of the legislators also attend the monthly meetings and can see the regional effect that they have. I think their relationship has been very beneficial, and although there have been some hiccups, they've had some staffing issues for sure. The newer folks that they brought in, I think, are doing an excellent job, and it sounds like the towns have been pretty happy with it.
Yeah, they were very, very responsive to any questions any county had. I've known that a couple of times, that they've talked to the village and the town. When they call, they're right there, got questions asked. Any other comments? Austin?
Legislator Shaw, I'll let you go
Well,
first.
Tim, this is all tied in to our planning for sewer and going forward.
The regional planning folks, yes, absolutely. They've been part of the conversation. They were very active and they ran the entire discussion for the Sandy Pond issue we've been dealing with. So they've been very active throughout our county, really in all of the infrastructure needs, also zoning and land use issues. So very active.
For around Sandy Pond, for the,
Specifically the issue with the runoff into the pond and the dredging issues and things like that. But they've been, they were part of the conversation about sewer needs or the wastewater needs up in Sandy Pond as well.
but the
Very active.
residents will ultimately pick that up.
Yes, yes. Somebody needs to kind of, they've been the ones
They
who've been
need a
pushing it
plan.
forward.
Okay, thanks.
Ed had his hand up.
So the regional planning board, I'm also associated with them. I attend their meetings, as does Chairman Chesbro. And they're one thing that I'll just comment on is they got a huge tree grant. So your communities, you should let your communities know. Richland is taking part of that right now, getting some help with some trees for some parks. They're very active. I have mentioned to Director Stahl that I would like to see us do a presentation there. I've watched many of the different county offices do presentations as far as where they are with their planning and some of the strategic plans are. And I think Tim is planning to do that. I would like us to have a bigger voice there, and I think that will help that. And I know you attend as well, so thanks for that. I think they've held their price for 2 or 3 years. That's it here now.
Yeah.
We'll miss Jeannie Geisler. Obviously, she was a terrific planner, very knowledgeable, but I think they've got some good staff coming up.
I was just going to add that their staff and their organization has significant ties to abilities to gain federal funding. They were very important for us, getting $2.5 million through the EDA for the industrial park expansion. They were very helpful on that process. So I would say, related to other infrastructure projects that the county is looking to do, would be good to have them involved because they could help us to unlock potential federal dollars, not just state dollars.
They're a great team member for us. Any other questions?
Roy, just a comment. They provide services that are beyond the borders of towns, villages, counties, like the Oneida Lake watershed study that they did. They do, so they provide a service that is not filled by anybody else. And I used to attend their meetings, and they're very informative. I'm glad that you guys are both attending. It's important.
Well, they had great lunch.
Yes, they do.
It makes it easier.
Yes, it does. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of passing the budget as shown,
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Okay. Next, regional transportation. No one is here for that either.
I'll move it.
Does everyone see it on there? It's in the smaller one where we've got the backup of what they are charging, and it's actually less. I'm seeing their 2026 request is less than it was last year.
County contribution is same as last year.
Yep. County contribution is the same, and their bottom line is less.
I'll move
Okay, move, second,
Second.
second. Any other comments?
it. Do you want to say anything, Heather, about now you're on their board?
Yeah, so, one thing I just want to put on everyone's radar, that I've been noticing at the board meetings is that they do pull up a comparison of how many mortgage closings we have in our county compared to the previous year because of the tax that they collect on the mortgage. And so they've noticed there's been an increase, in the home closings that have happened in our county. So that's, something just to keep an eye on.
Mhm. And I have voiced it in several years, is that I don't think that they should be getting mortgage tax from people up in Red Creek, Williamstown, where they are not serviced by Centro, and yet every mortgage, they get a percentage. And I've said that every year, so it's just a little critics with me. Frank?
I know that, I've voiced my opinion many times about Central, and it hasn't changed over the years, and I know that they're doing this and doing that, and they're gonna have a meeting recently, in the next couple of weeks, right? But I don't like paying them, I'm sorry, I just don't. That's just, I don't think it's just me, because if you asked anybody in the city of Fulton, if they're getting, the service that they should be getting for the amount of money that we're paying, okay? And how they service rural or even, in the cities, city of Oswego might be great, but I'm just telling you, the city of Fulton, it's not something that I would say, yes, I want to pay that kind of money.
Well, they go through right from Oswego to Syracuse, and that's the
Well,
service they get.
they're the only, but they go around the city of Fulton, they go around the city of Oswego. They're gonna have a meeting to discuss what they're gonna be cutting in the city of Fulton, and here we are gonna be voting on it. Okay, and saying, yes, it's all right, to cut a service to this. And one of them is to go to QV Community College,
There's
that's what I heard.
They are still, so when Central held the public meeting, there was professors that spoke up at Cadenville Community College. Central said, we hear you guys, we're going to put them back on to the route, and so they did. I think that the route revisions are a good thing. It's not going to affect the range of riders. There's going to be much more frequent transportation to move students and seniors quicker in between locations. Our other transit services fill in the gaps of where Central doesn't service right now. But I agree with you. I think there will be more service in other areas.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at what we do with our, our transportation, okay? With our buses, okay? And then we look at what Central does and what we get from them. That's my
Bottom line is, they don't have a Heather, okay? They don't have a Heather, so we're doing a much better job.
I will not be in favor of it on the floor when it comes to the floor.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Any other, Roy?
Well, and because Heather's on the board now, and because they attend the TAC meetings, I think things are on the improving as we go, and we can continue that improvement. So the fact that it's flat, I think is a good thing. I'm in favor of it.
Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? One passes. Okay, let's go right on to Cornell Cooperative Extension. Paul, what page? Are we still on?
Same page.
Still on page 2.
Yeah.
Everybody locate it? And,
Co-op,
all right.
at the top.
The total line at the top, and then how it's divided out, and there's monthly programs is. I
I mean, a $2 million budget there for them?
4.2
I just keep.
I would take it.
I just.
Don't look for me to complain, I would take it. Is that a motion?
I'll take a motion. Motion, second, okay. Paul?
Good morning. I'm sorry that you didn't have the other people here from the other agencies, but I'm kind of glad because that gives me the opportunity to talk more because those people didn't talk. So, I just,
I'll oppose. We are doing the favor.
we are asking for level funding, and I can explain those in a second, but I just wanted to talk about a couple of things that are going on here in the county, which is actually kind of exciting. The biggest increase we have right now in agriculture in Oswego County is small farms. We have a significant number of people that are moving into the area. Some have absolutely no idea what they're doing with farming. Those present some very unique challenges, like the husband and wife that came in and talked to me about planting 1,200 strawberries in July. And I said, not a good time. And she said, but we've already ordered the plants. And I said, well, see if you can get that changed. And she said, no, they're already at the property. And I said, okay, so the 1,200 plants baking in the July sun, you probably are going to get a dozen plants out of that if you're lucky, and they got very mad and left. But these people present some unique challenges. So much so that we have started a new program called Fast Track to Farming. And so when somebody comes in and they talk to us and the magic words are, we've never done this before, then we immediately put them in that program to try to save them the loss of money and us the loss of our brain power for dealing with them repeatedly. And that's going very, very well. We're quite happy with the way that's going. I also wanted to point out, and give me one of these, if you could take one and pass it on. We have successfully brought back the Mexico Farmers Market. So it was a 2-year work to try to get that done. This is a list of all the farmers markets in Oswego County. In addition to bringing back the Mexico Farmers Market, after about 5 years worth of effort, we finally have gotten all of the market managers to get together. So twice a year we meet with them. Because when we have these meetings through Ag and Markets, we are the appointed agency that can bring resources to the farmers markets. So that has been very exciting to finally get everybody together. So they're all meeting and they're all talking. We've had numerous workshops in Ag. Over the past couple of years, one of the things we've tried to do is bring new and different crops. Because the markets are getting saturated with onions, markets are getting saturated with apples. So 2 years ago, we did what we call the New York State Pawpaw Conference, which is a native fruit to this area. Very happy to report we've got about half a dozen people that are now growing pawpaws. Last year was the Honeyberry Conference. Honeyberry is a small fruit, very sweet. Again, after doing that and bringing experts, we actually brought in somebody from Canada to talk about honeyberries. We got about half a dozen people that are now growing honeyberries. So we don't know what we're going to do next year, but we keep trying to do these conferences for our agricultural producers to give them some opportunities for new and different things. In 4-H, I wanted to let you know that, yes.
Can I just say, I'll call you later about adding Hannibal to your list, because they started a farmer's market this summer.
Oh,
So I would like you to have that in.
we should have that.
I'll give you the check.
I'm surprised because, okay,
Thanks.
all right, they should be at the table.
Yep.
So, all right. I don't know how that happened, but
No,
we'll figure it out. Okay, we'll figure it out. Good. 4-H, we are very happy to report by invitation, we are now in 7 elementary schools doing programs at the request of the school, most of them 4-H Natural Resources. And that is going very, very well. Of course, you already know about Ag Literacy Week, which we've been sponsoring for 25 or 30 years. Progressive Farm Home Safety Day, 5th graders. Every 5th grade class in Oswego County is invited. This year we had 2 schools that did not want to participate. Usually we have 100%. That's done at the county fairgrounds. All 5th graders are together. And of course, we continue to do the backbone of 4-H, which is 4-H clubs, which we are one of the few counties that continue to do that. This, if you take one and pass, that is our new brochure that we have come up with for this year. That's the one we're distributing. Thought you might like to have a copy of it. We do have those available if you know someplace where we could spread them around. And the last document I want to leave you with is the document that we've been producing for at least 15 years, maybe more. This is the economic impact of agriculture in Oswego County. So this has become almost the Bible for other agencies. I know Soil and Water uses it. I know Operations Oswego County uses it. So if you could take one of those, this will be revised for next year. So these are always based on the Ag Census. Believe it or not, the Ag Census is, by the time we get the data and we can crunch it, they're already getting ready for the new Ag Census. So the data that's in here, the census was in 2017. They did not release the data until 2021. So from 2017 to 2021, the government does whatever they need to do to that data. They release it in 2021. We did this in 2022. The 2022 census is out. We won't have those numbers for at least a year. But as soon as we get those numbers, we will go ahead and revise those. Okay? We are level funded. There are 3 lines in there. The first line is for our Office and Operations. That's the main program for Cooperative Extension of Oswego County. Then there is another line in there for Agriculture Economic Development, which is a program that was instituted at the request of the legislature many, many years ago. And then the third line in there is simply a pass-through. We are charged an amount for participation in the teams, in the Cornell teams. That's a pass-through. We get the money from the county, it goes to our books, we pay the bill. We don't make any money on that. Okay? Yes?
Frank?
The second line, agricultural specialist, that's when you said the county requested that
Yes.
somebody put in,
Yes.
and what is their,
That goes back to the days when Steve Lyman was the administrator.
the function?
That, in Oswego County,
Give me a job
Sure.
description.
Sure. It's his job to make sure that agriculture entities in Oswego County remain financially viable, whatever that may be. If somebody needs help finding grant funds so that they can do a particular program on their farm, he will find those funds. If we do several programs every year under the heading of Agriculture Economic Development to try to give farmers an opportunity to maybe go into some different commodities. We help them locate sources where they can sell those commodities. It's everything that doesn't include production. So most of the growers in Oswego County don't need a lot of help with how to grow something. Once they grow it, they need help on what they're going to do with it. So that's where that position comes.
I just have to say, I mean, I'm very proud of what you guys do. And I'm very happy that, the fund that you guys do is something we need. That's what's in our logo,
It's in our logo.
okay? And that's right where I have no problem with funding you for,
Thank you. I
as long
appreciate
as long as you're not just getting donuts.
that. Well, no donuts, no
You're doing an
tax
excellent
products.
job, you're an excellent job, Paul, but I will put in a motion next year, we limit your time to a minute.
Okay. Ed, any question? No?
Yeah, so agriculture is a big part of our county, obviously, and we've been very active. Milk and sheep steady that you've done and stay in front of.
Yep. June
But also
is dairy month.
What's important, I think, you stay in front of us as we get notified with club call monthly. Hopefully everybody takes advantage of looking through that. And it's encouraging to see how active the kids are in those programs. And in this day and age, with all the other options that they have, it's very encouraging. And I would, along with Frank, highly recommend.
Thank you.
It's our two basics, infrastructure, the youth, and our food supply.
Question,
Question?
what are the elementary schools, what districts are you? Oh, you don't know off the top of your
I
head?
don't. Sandy Creek, Farley, Volney, Fairgrave, Granby, Lanigan, and Brewerton Elementary.
Nice, thank you.
Okay,
Those are the ones.
so if we've got schools in our districts that are not on that list, good thing to be contacting them. 4-H is great. Okay, any other questions?
And the most requested class that we do from the teachers is a program called deceptive coloration. In other words, why are female birds very bland? Bland, at least bland, I won't say boring. And why are males so colorful? So that is the one that most of the teachers request over. And it goes through the whole animal kingdom. It's not just birds, but that's a good example.
That says a lot. All right. Okay, any other questions?
I'm not gonna add to that, Paul. We're part of that,
That's right, flamboyant gentlemen. Okay, any other questions for Paul? Hearing none, all those in favor, passing his budget? Opposed?
Thank you very much.
Passes, thank you. And as your budget gets passed, if you choose not to stay, you're not required, we are, but the different groups are not. So if you want to stay, you're more than welcome. If not, Paul, feel free to go on, because I know everybody has a lot of stuff on their plate. Yeah, chocolate milk is a request. Okay, we'd like to be quiet, no problem.
Be a bride.
Okay.
I'll take care of it, don't you worry.
Thank you.
One teeny short question.
Sure, what can I help you?
Paul, how does the school request you come and give a presentation on 4-H and available resources
So,
surrounding it?
so some of the requests, believe it or not, come through OCO. I've said this before, we have the privilege,
Ed, I want to grab one.
we have the unique privilege of having relationships with almost every agency in Oswego County. So some of those come through OCO that runs after-school programs, and so they will ask us to come in and do some of those programs. Some come directly from the teachers.
For school counselors?
Absolutely. Just call our office and we can make it happen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right on then, Oswego County, soil and water, Joe. Oh, well, first off, we're still on page 2, yes. And, can I have a motion second?
Second.
Second, okay.
All right, thank you. We do have a level funding request this year at 292,833. We do have had a pretty exciting year here. We have spent on projects or earned in our time on the ground, boots on the ground, helping out the public and municipalities around $900,000 this year. That's either, like I said, conservation projects on the ground, whether it be agriculture, invasive species, forestry, as well as earned that some of that funding or spent on supplies or whatnot. Through our technical assistance, design, boots on the ground, site visits, and things of that nature. That equates to around a little over a $3 projected return on investment for 2025, which we talked about, as the county funding increase last year. That obviously can go up and down a little bit depending upon how many grants we have. But we applied for over $950,000 in grants this year. That is for use over the next 3 years, and we were also awarded quite a bit this year. Awarded $421,000 for water chestnut work over the next 3 years, and that had an additional $500,000 with it for a total of over $900,000 in 5 counties, and then I have Lake Watershed as well as 3 rivers system, and then $750,000 for agricultural work and the AEM or Agricultural Environmental Management Program, that for work over the next 3 years, and then over $130,000 for water quality work. With that said, we do have the opportunity now with five employees is to increase how much we can go after, just having that additional time to spend on applying for grants. We have that additional time to spend on a technical assistance request, and maybe take that level up a notch. But so far in 2025, really, I don't have the exact number, but generally on an annual basis, hundreds of assists for landowners and municipalities. We also have control projects in water chestnut and giant hogweed. As I said, provided technical assistance to the public and municipalities in forestry, agriculture, water quality, invasives, several other categories. Offered numerous educational opportunities. We did begin training with the New York State DEC on wetland delineation, so that was kind of a big one that we talked about last year. We do have between myself and another employee at the district, we have around a dozen delineations under our belt, and so we hope to increase that a little bit in the first, let's say, May to June next year, and we're hoping to be able to have the green light to go ahead and do those. We are, I think, fully capable right now, but there is, we just have to have that meeting and that discussion with the DEC and see where they're at and how many more they think they need to see from us to feel comfortable with our work. In addition to that, reforestation management, a timber sale that'll be going out here pretty soon, 6 or 7 management plans, representing hundreds of acres planned, newer storage project, thousands of trees, and I can certainly go on a little bit more here. So lots of different successes this year, but overall it's a level funding request, and we certainly appreciate your support in the past and look forward to it in the future.
What I like is the success you've had with the drones, with the water chestnuts. Unbelievably different now that you're using the drones to spray.
Absolutely. It was, we had at one time over 330 acres of water chestnut, very dense acreage within the Oswego River corridor. We have worked that down to this year. I think we paid for 65 or 66 acres to be sprayed. Even some of that really was not quite as dense as it has been in the past. So we are definitely making a difference. We do have a crew that goes out, and every year we hire 5 to 7 interns. They'll go out in canoes, kayaks, and such, and we've had really good success in getting the scattered plants out to trying to keep that down. That part may get a little out of control with as we work those down. Typically, they don't just disappear. They'll, instead of a very dense population, you'll have a plant every 25 feet or something like that. So that is labor intensive to get, but it's important and imperative that we do so. So yeah, huge success. Thank you for recognizing that. Appreciate it.
Marie?
I love what you do. Thank you. But with roughly 900 million ash lost, which I feel is a devastating loss, I hope we're not doing too much logging. And is there any grant funding available to put a lot of native species to this area out for people to plant? Or is there an incentive to plant them? I mean, I feel it's very critical.
Yeah, so it's really just having that at some part of the plan that we have in the future. We have other programs in other areas that we're looking to develop, and as we do that, we're hoping to have a little more time to. With additional staffing, we hope to have more time to work on forestry, but there are a number of programs out there right now. So most of them would go through the state. So there's the Regenerate New York. There is money out there to plant trees right now. There's also what's called the ELF grant, or Establishing Large Forests. Those are not all rolling deadlines, so you do have to wait for the landowners have to wait for the deadline, but they're more than willing to welcome to reach out to us. There's also for on agricultural land or agricultural operations, there's money through what's called the CRF, or Climate Resiliency Farming Grant, and we can assist with that. So on real large acreage, at this point, that might be a little bit of an issue, just because we need people to put those in the ground, and a farmer may not have the capacity to do that, or we may not have the capacity to do that. But smaller acreage, or even just so for single tree replacement, we don't have anything established yet, but I can definitely keep it,
Would you, Joe, ever be able to try to do a grant for the we've had them done where you have a tree planted like in minutes. It's a machine, it's a huge.
Oh, like a tree. So for very large stock, we don't have, so the only thing, so let's say a tree planter, if we were gonna do large.
I don't know the technical term, I've just had them used.
Sure, yep.
Property.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably something that a tree care company might have, but I could definitely look into all that. And
I just
see what we
wonder if
can
the
do.
county could have something like that through a grant process and do an initiative to plant X number every year. And even contact people who've had large losses with ash.
Absolutely, and I, like I said, they're welcome to call the office, start that conversation, but I am more than willing to have a discussion with anyone in the county and try to move something forward, absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, in reference to what Ed was saying
I
earlier,
highly recommend you reach out to Central New York Regional Planning. I mean, they got a grant for like over 10,000 trees. And I think that,
It's needed, they lost
yeah,
nearly.
the
million.
details are just coming out, but there may be funding to help plant those as well.
yeah, I believe they've been in touch with you, correct, Joe?
They have, right at this point, there's some other opportunity for us maybe to hop in on some of that, like at the educational level, maybe planting, but they will, they'll reach out, I think, when they get a little closer, but right now, I believe they're still in the contract phase with that, so those things take some time, especially at the federal
Yeah, 'cause
level.
that came out at what, last year, I think, they first started saying that they
Yeah.
got somewhere, and all of a sudden, they got tens of thousands of trees given that they're gonna be getting. So, and they can go throughout the whole
And I
central.
reached out to him just recently for some for the community park in Richland. And he said it was a perfect application, so I just got to follow through with it.
I mean, it would be great to give all the kids at school a tree. I mean, everybody plant a tree, get it going.
We do have a program for that called the Plant a Tree program.
Yeah, they do have one.
Put about 5,000 trees, I think, in there.
Through each school district?
As many that we could serve with that 5,000 or 6,000 trees, and they all have the ability to call or to sign up for it as well.
Frank?
Well, I think everything, you're, along with, Paul over there, what you guys do is great, okay? And I think it's wonderful. I just have to make one statement before I forget it. Everybody loves the tree until fall or when there's a storm. then all of a sudden, you want to know why the hell did I put that tree up there? The question I have, and I know how much we are contributing now. And the cleanup of the waterways has come a long way since I first started. And I'm wondering, would any more money that we would put into it, would that increase it quicker? Or, I mean, if you go along in Boulder, Mel, you go along 57 there, the Big Island, at least 4 years ago, you could, it was about almost a mile long, all that growth. And now it's come down, okay? But we need clear waterways. It's part of us. And would it do any good, or
And that
would it just...
related directly to the chestnuts?
Right, okay. Would that increase spending, would that make the process go quicker, or would it be just, pouring water into a can that's got holes in the bottom of it?
So we have, it's basically a one shot. We have 2 shots at the population per year, at least as far as herbicide. So there are other ways we could do it. We can harvest and things like that. The lack of the access is really difficult. The harvesters can only move 2 miles an hour. And they need a really specific launch. It needs to be quite deep. So with that said, it's tough to get those out there, and we rely and plus it is a lot more expensive. So it's probably 4 to 6 or even 7 times more per acre to do harvesting. So with the herbicide, at this point we do have the funding to do that project, and we're able to do it. We get a 1-week window to spray each year, so 2 1-week windows each year to spray. It's all permitted, has to do with, New York State DEC pesticide application permits, and so we are able to obtain those. But we wouldn't be able to do more than that. So it's one application, huge notification for every landowner. Now, the only thing that will hold, so as you work those populations down to a level where you can manage those by hand pulling, it's pretty much the only method to do so. So with that, would more funding help? I'm not sure, because we don't, just logistically, we don't have the room for more, interns than what we're having. Organization of something public, perhaps, but that's just, I don't know that we would necessarily require extra funding for that. I think just that time to be able to organize those, but that's tough again, just because of the public access and the position of the chestnuts to those access sites. But we're doing it, and I think it's still been quite successful, and the nature of the bees is those nuts are good for 12 years in the sediment, which makes it difficult to control.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Joe? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passed. Thank you, Joe. Okay, Rico County Opportunities Bus Operation, page
123.
123.
$1 million loan.
$1 million line.
$123.
$121?
123.
123.
Sorry, no, 124.
124.
123 is when the page of
Where it
department
starts.
starts.
It starts there, but okay, so you're talking,
OCOBO.
Rico County Opportunities Bus Operations.
Yeah.
motion to get into the budget? Got a motion? First, second? Second, okay. Yeah, discussion.
So this is actually something Veronica and I have been working on changing the name of, on that line for that reason. This is actually our STOA revenue, which is our state transit operating assistance that we receive. The state gives us $1.15 for every mile that our buses drive, and they give us 68 cents for every rider. We budget this very conservatively. This year, we are on track to receive over 1.6 million. After we get the last quarter, we'll figure out what the change is. But we always budget around $1 million, and then we typically do a resolution halfway through the year because there's a cleanup payment that DOT issues, and we never know that amount of that cleanup payment. It's basically what's left over from the STOA pool, and we distribute that amongst the rest of the crew. But they did announce that we will have a STOA increase for the FY26 year, so we can expect to receive over 1.6 this year. We do know that.
So this entirely, does the county put anything into this?
This is the budget that we use to pay our vendor for the public transit services.
Okay, and federal government gives us any?
So this is just the state portion, but we also do receive federal funding as well.
You will see on page 124, there is an expense and revenue lines budgeted that equal each other. So even if we do get 1.6, if you wanted to change it to that, you have to change the revenue too. It doesn't make any difference on the tax levy.
Right?
Question. Just so I understand, because I was a little confused in transportation. This is the money for our buses.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm looking down, and the net county, you had 0, but we got 9,618. Why would the increase? When there was, the department said there should be 0, which, I don't, it's not you, it's, why would we change that?
The retirement,
Why did the retirement go up?
New York State, because her department was just started last year, And now the two people in there have had a full year there. So when the state retirement bill comes, there's now two people that had a full year of employment. So the retirement now reflects that full year of them being employed.
We also funded the first year Kristen's salary through CARES funding. So that was also probably not reflected in my
I'm happy with the service that we get from them. It's the other OCO that I have a problem with.
I know, that's why we like to have a different name perhaps on
Yeah,
this line when it
Let's
comes
put another
to
one, put another name on this.
Process.
Okay.
Yes, that would be much better, because everybody looked at that, whoa, what is that? Yeah. Okay. Anybody have any other questions? Hearing none, those in favor? None. Opposed? Okay, passes, thank you, Heather. Workforce development, page.
Page, starts on page 132.
Motion for this budget? Second? Second, okay, Rachel?
Well, there's a lot of different accounts there. So, do you want me to start with one or just an overall for?
Let's give it overall, and then if anybody has any specific questions, we can go to that one.
All right, so we operate out of the CD 6300, 6301, and 6302. There's some older ones there from our previous employment training department that are all zeroed out. But,
Could you repeat that?
so the CD 6300 account, that's our funding that comes through the county. Our 6301 account is for the Summer Youth Employment Program, so that is fully funded by New York State. That's the money that comes from OTDA through DSS plus from the Summer Youth Program. And then the 6302, that is our WIOA funding from the feds. That comes through the state, and also with our New York Scion funding, again, that comes through the state for Disability Resource Coordinator. So that is fully funded too.
Okay.
So it's a 6300, that is the investment from the county. But what we're working with, what we've got here, everything for operationally is fully funded. And then any additional money we have is what goes out to our community members, whether it's for our youth with work experience scholarships for training, supportive costs to help individuals if they need clothing to be able to start a new job, required work boots, required tools, gas cards till they get their first paycheck, anything like that, and also our on-the-job training to help our local businesses as well. So we're looking, any additional funding would just go back out to the community. I will note that in the 6300 account, the OB, our Oswego build, we will have rollover from that because we're on cohort 1 of 2, and our second cohort will occur in 2026. We're looking actually to start it in mid-January. We've started recruitment for that next cohort. We've had some information sessions, but we're looking for 15 to 20 individuals that are interested in the trades. And also the RLR, the Real Life Rosies that we're partnering with MACNY on. We just had last month about $48,000 come in for their Advanced to Apprenticeship program because we're in CCC this semester. We're already in contract to do another cohort in the spring with them, so there would be additional funding coming into that. That'll come in about February, March. In 2026.
Yeah. I'm just curious.
Mhm.
In 24, we had state aid that we no longer have.
So
Can you explain that?
So we started January 2024 was our new workforce department. We only had the 6300 and the 6301 account. Halfway through 2024, the state said we needed to pull our WIOA funding out. So what you're seeing in
6,300 budgeted got moved to the 6302 account halfway through 2024. So it's easier for our annual audits under WIOA. So it's really just moving it.
So that is the explanation for the salary and wages went from 400,000 to 1 million.
They're split. So they're actually, you've got to take all three accounts to even out our salaries and wages because there is revenue in the 6301 and the 6302 accounts to cover the wages in 6300 because that's just where all the staff is listed. I haven't changed the staffing numbers. We added one position in this time and it was with a single build and it's fully funded under grant funding.
What is the cost of the county for your department?
Yeah, what's the bottom line?
You can make a profit, don't you?
It is, what am I looking here?
I think 58,000, right?
It's gonna be $58,108.
Yep.
And that is on line 133, and you would see it at the very bottom of that page, it says interfund transfer.
Obviously, along with your knowledge of workforce development, employment, tuition, training, you need a finance degree, okay?
Got a guy.
Yeah.
I got a really good accountant.
Yeah,
We gotta keep them happy.
yeah, with this, with our packet that we had gotten, department budgets, 16 pages of this is for workforce, so it's a lot of stuff that you have to go through with grants, so.
Yeah, I do not have an accountant or finance degree.
But Austin's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Well, not to mention the trying to figure out the WIOA stuff.
Oh, yeah, all the grants and stuff constantly.
Well, that's the hardest part because that program year is July through June. So then doing this budget on the exact opposite side.
Wow.
Yeah. But once again, all of this planning and the excellent stuff that you have done as an infrastructure to build our workforce development so well, recognized by other counties, actually, that you've done such a good job, that it is nothing but kudos because with the new requirements, with SNAP, that you are able to pick up these able-bodied people from 16 to 64 and get them jobs and get them out there to be able to help with getting the requirements so that they can get assistance.
It's actually my coordinator's meeting with Gidget they were meeting at 9 to talk about that, so.
Yeah, between you and Heather with transporting them to it. Ed, did you have
Well,
one?
and that stigma is changing too, I think, the county is too,
Mhm.
social services.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's, yeah.
The workforce is on its own. It's not part of DSS, so go there. And it's, what I love to see is it's not just people without a job, it's people that are in a job, but they want to do better. They want to
That's the
educate
majority of what we're seeing, actually. People that are
That's a great incentive.
wanting more training, get out of that entry-level position after how many years, get a career.
It shows that there's an ability to go up, and which gives us more room for the basic level, so more people can come in, but they can see that you can grow.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. If people just think, well, this is it, I can't get any better. But we're saying, no, there is growth that you can go continue. Frank?
Did I misunderstand what we just said, that the interfund transfer, that's how much it costs the county, is $58,000?
Yeah.
Because the way I'm looking at it, that's, the net to the county is $638,000.
But if you look at, that's just for 6300, because that's where all of her staff are. If you look at the bottom line for 6301, there's a net negative of 53,500.
That's a profit, yeah.
If you look at 6302, it's a net negative of 584,500. Those are revenues that are in different portions of the budget that offset.
I don't know, it's got to look a little bit different.
Any other-
Yeah, I think you're doing a good job. Thank you very much for what you do, but I just wanted to know where, where it was, because, you told me, and I'm looking at a $638,000 bill.
Yeah.
And I know that,
It all evens out.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've had Veronica explain it to me multiple times.
thank you very much, Veronica.
Yes. Okay, any other questions for Rachel? Hearing none, all those in favor of passing the workforce development budget? Opposed? Passes. Thank you, Rachel. Promotion and tourism, page number?
107.
That's my favorite number.
07. Okay, can I have a motion for the promotion and tourism budget? Second? I'll second it. Okay. Which one of you guys want to go for it?
Biggest one is, reproduction expense from 15 to 20,000. We want to, make a coin or, grab swag t-shirts for, the 250th celebration of, USA for July 4th. We don't know exactly what we're doing yet, but we'll have a plan for it. And, for everything else, next year we come out with the fishing and hunting guide, and we have sport shows that we're doing. Yeah. So.
Anybody have any questions for Dan regarding tourism planning?
This is just, why are we getting so much furniture all the time? I'm seeing it throughout the budget.
There's a lot of old furniture.
A lot of it was bought at the same time and it ages.
Planning hasn't been redone in 30, 40 years. I mean, maybe they have to do some renovations throughout that section.
You can stop down and see the evidence of the Great Chili Spill of 1978.
Frank?
I understand furniture gets old and replace it, but we've replaced furniture throughout the whole county at times, and if HR was here, I'd ask how many vacancies we have throughout the whole county. And I think we have departments that are ordering furniture with the anticipation of getting people to fill those chairs and desks. So it would be in the best interest of, to say, okay, travel and tourism or planning, or, you have, 3 new desks over there, and me over here in accounting, we have 2 new people coming in, we don't have desks, so we gotta buy new desks. Why don't you, do a, transfer of those desks over to my, the buildings and grounds, move those desks over there. I mean, I know it's piddly, I know it's nitpicking, but, if you don't pick somewhere, you've got to, say, well, how did the cost get so high? And it's because, and we're sitting here with I know one department that I sit on the budget on is asking to fill up a space with the anticipation of hiring 4 people. And they haven't been able to hire 2 people all year, but they're going to hire 4, and they've got to fill that space up with equipment. And we've got people that are asking for it. So all I'm looking to do is a share. You come from a family of 5 or 6, and one kid needs another pair of shoes, and the kid above him is already grown out of them, so you move those shoes down. And I think that's what we have to start looking at, is where can we save money and not hurt the services that we supply. And I think there's very few departments that I think that their services aren't needed and we're not in favor of. And I'm just looking to save some money somewhere. And that's all. That's my statement and my question. And I would, at some point in time, I'll ask to remove that from the budget. And get a second and then get voted down. But I'll make the motion, at the time. But I think, basically every department head is doing an excellent job with what they have. there's things that we have to look at. That's all I'm asking.
I believe the message we have given a lot of departments though has been, we don't want all of a sudden in the middle of the year, you need more money because we have a budget. You figure out what you need during budget time. And if you're talking in the same thing that I think the DA's office wanted more furniture for potential new clients, but I don't think they're using it until they get somebody, because otherwise they wait and somebody comes and now they have to come and ask us for more money, and we're like, why didn't you put it in your budget? So it's kind of like, put it in your budget or don't put it in budget, bring it back later, and then we get mad because you didn't put it in your budget. So it's kind of like a 6 of one, half of the other as to when they ask for it.
No, it's a department that's fully funded right now.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay, it's the public defender's office, and all of a sudden got all this open space.
Yeah.
That, hey, I want to fill this up because I got, 5 people that I could hire, but
Yeah.
if I hire them, I don't have any place to have them sit, okay? So,
Bill?
Also wanted to remind the committee that we do have a surplus, disposition of surplus policy. It's coordinated by purchasing, where departments can receive unused equipment and furniture and things from other departments. So what you're suggesting, we are looking.
Oh. So there you are. Those extra pair of shoes are right there for us.
So it's not in the budget unless it's needed.
move the $2,000.
Well, see, we've been taking advantage of that for the last 40 years.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I found out about it, Tim. Don't give me that. Look me right straight in the eye and say you knew that.
When it comes to
we definitely
understand that when it comes to furniture and chairs and things, they get run down after several years.
I know they do.
We don't have a lot of those in surplus to give to somebody else. It doesn't do well to give somebody a file cabinet that won't open it.
If I could, sorry.
Ben?
So, I think there's typically a mentality, and I'm not saying within the county, just within the county, of when you budget, I think our budget department polices that very well. We do see throughout the year budget transfers where we're using money that was budgeted for overtime or a position. But I think that's bittersweet because I think that goes hand in hand that we budget very tightly and very closely, and sometimes it's helpful that we have a few extra funds in there, and we've been able to do it without raising the taxes. So I think your policing job is excellent.
Thank you, and you're correct. The county does have a purchasing deadline in November that we enforce unless there's an emergency. And and you're right, we don't have a spend it or lose it mentality, and for that reason is why we produce fund balance.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's harder for these smaller departments too, to just have the funds anywhere in their budget to even transfer. So we try to make sure that what they're budgeting is what they actually need.
Yeah.
Without padding something somewhere else to transfer.
And with the renter and the tourism budget as well, this is fully funded 100% through the bed tax revenue. And so this is one of the interesting accounts that there's no motivation to spend it or lose it because all that money rolls forward. So if you don't spend it, the money rolls forward into next year's budget as well.
Right. So what's your projection though? I mean, so you have just a small increase in the hotel motel tax, but what's your anticipation of what's that actually going to happen there?
That's a great question.
Is that going to be under your department or is it under tourism?
No, so the plan is
It's kind of like tourism.
Yeah, it will. And so the plan is that because as of today, we don't have a start date for when we will begin as a county collecting the short-term rental bed tax. The discussion was recommended to put it forward as if it is not there, and then once it is passed by law, we will amend both the revenue and expense lines to match. As far as the anticipation, we do expect it to be at least $200,000. We fully expect that, and we are working to have a plan in place for when it does kick in. How do we justify it? We've talked to this committee a number of times on what the hope would be to use those funds and how we best use them. But in expectation of that, we have actually those of you who have attended our tourism advisory meetings, you notice that we have gone from monthly to quarterly. And because of that, one of the things we're also working to is bring in
specific meetings that highlight some of the areas that we kind of get, not say get glossed over, but with the typical tourism meeting every month, we weren't really touching it deep as we should. One of those is a new fishing, sport fishing advisory meeting that is going to be starting, I believe, this upcoming month. And to help us to really have a priority and focus on meeting with the charter captains, with the hotels and restaurants that plan for that. And the second group meeting that we're going to be starting next year is going to be specifically meeting with the hotels and motels management, leaderships, as well as short-term rental representatives. To make sure that, I mean, that's where the money's coming in. We want to make sure we're doing the best job as a county in investing in those directly, so they see the benefit of what they kind of feel they're spending as a county. So both those things are going to be happening. Fishing will be starting this month, and again, once the short-term rental stuff happens, we plan to really invest in that as well.
Frank?
Yeah, I hear Legislator Gilson's point about, in a budget. In the private sector, yes, you use it or you lose it for next year. But this is not the private sector. And in the private sector, if you save the company money, you're going to move up, okay? And I know that we do a good job, okay, with our budget, but any way that we can save money is what we have to look at. And yeah, it looks like Castelia is being, a nitpicker, but, I'm not talking about my money, I'm talking about, my taxpayers' money. That's what I have to look at, and that's what I expect. And yes, okay, I know that, that's why a lot of, you see a lot of department heads moving money out from one, line item to another line item in project, so that, it's not increasing anything, but yet there's times during the year that you're going to have to increase something. And it's not because you budgeted bad, because something happened, okay? And that's why I say, use it or lose it doesn't pertain as far as I'm concerned in the public sector. And we got to watch what we can spend, and we're doing a good job of it, but I think we can take another step forward. Watch.
Any other questions for tourism? Hearing none, all those in favor, tourism budget? Opposed? Passes. And
It's 121.
121 for the next one, planning and community development.
What was that, 121?
121,
Also includes mobility management.
yes. So we'll start out with Tim, and we'll go with that. Can I have a motion to discuss the budget?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All right. Tim?
Let's see. Okay, great. Yep, so also included in this is the strategic initiatives budget, which I know we talked about in the government courts meeting as well. I neglected to put in the revenue line, and so you'll see in here, I don't think that is correct. It's going to be put in there, but the revenue line for strategic initiatives for the salary, at least in the one that I have, does not have the revenue line from the ARPA funds to offset the expense, so that will be adjusted as well. So apologies for messing that up. That is on page 125. That's the strategic initiative. Still want to bring it back. So 100% of the expenses in strategic initiatives are payroll, and they are 100% reimbursed through the federal ARPA funds for this next year.
Marie?
Okay, when the strategic initiatives absolutely go away, forever and ever, amen.
First quarter of 27.
Paying this to right now, this is the,
It's one employee. It's Kyle Beckman who is overseeing the ARPA funds as well as our broadband project.
okay, but we were assured that ARPA would disappear, go away.
Yeah.
So,
We have till the end of 26 to spend it all down. And I think the administrative portion, which is in strategic initiatives, we have the first quarter of 27.
Yes, correct.
how much is left in
Close
there?
out all the reports.
ARPA funds?
At the end of the first quarter of 27, they'll be zeroed out.
What's in there right now?
Well, I'd have to go add it up.
Rough,
Whatever's
rough number.
in your budget, right? There's less than $1 million, probably around 800,000 or so. And so some of it is, it's all tied up in contracts with the other departments. For the most part, some of it is in workforce. There's also or anything. I'll run the project codes and get those for you after. Because all I gotta do is look up RPI and it'll be listed out.
But it's all allocated.
It is all allocated so that, except for that first quarter,
You're talking about internal.
the internal one, yeah.
And the external, we've got, what is it?
Is it 80,000?
Yeah.
That's tied up in a court case right now.
Everything else is committed and we expect to sign and be reimbursed for. There might be a couple small ones that are less than $10,000 difference, but. And there's a quarterly report that our office has to provide to the federal government, and I know internally we also do the same thing.
So will this program specialist go away?
Yes, well, the position goes away at the end of that's up to you folks, but yes, the funding for it does expire at the end of next year.
We were sure.
Anything else you'd like to add, Tim?
And so I just want to make sure I mention the strategic initiative piece. As far as the planning goes, you'll see there's obviously not a lot of offsetting revenues on these. This is fully county funded, these positions. And so it's important, obviously, for our office to show the benefit of these funds. And I really think that we do an amazing job with the staff that we have. Over the last 2 years, our 239 request, which I think you probably have all seen being copied on, we've done a really good job, I think, of making sure the legislators are in the loop on all the projects that are going on in their communities. So each of you, whenever one of your communities is required to file a 239 request, quick reminder, 239s are the land use oversight that the county requires that the towns and villages do for their planning boards and things like that. So if they're within 50 feet of this or certain requirements that would require the towns or villages to say, hey, we got to at least let the county know we're doing this and get their opinion on it. Now, ultimately, as a reminder, the town boards can't overvote us. All it takes is a 2/3 majority. So even if we say, hey, you shouldn't do that, the town board ultimately has final say. Typically, I think
Super majority.
Yes, 2/3, right. So I think typically they appreciate it. Very seldom do we end up with any sort of a negative experience with the towns and villages. Sometimes they do, but I think they understand that this is the law, the county law that you folks have passed, aligns with the state law. And it does help them, I think, defend themselves if there was ever any sort of a lawsuit that they didn't do things the right way. They would say, hey, we reviewed with the county, and the county went back and double-checked it. So 239 requests, we've put out a lot more information to the towns. We've held public meetings and virtual meetings with their planning boards, with their code enforcement officers, with their attorneys, and I think that they've really started to understand why they need to do it and how to do it. And so we've seen almost a double increase in the 239 requests. We're seeing a couple a week at this point. So I think that's helpful. We've been able to see some issues before they happen because of this. We've been able to, with our wetland issues, with that new 239L that the legislature passed a year and a half ago, it now allows us to see these splits that happen that otherwise would have been in the dark. And so we were able to see some of these properties up in Schuylkill specifically that these wetland trusts have been buying up. So it helped us to start to have those conversations earlier.
Yeah.
So that's an important piece. Sorry, go ahead.
So, as soon as you brought up the 239, it's a lot more of them, and there's a lot of new community planning boards and stuff. I think it might be time to reiterate that they should respond, make a recommendation. I know the track record of these communities responding is very, very poor. And just to remind them that it is required that they respond to it, even though they may override that, but.
And I will tell you that, well, so a couple of months ago, we actually went through and reviewed which communities were and weren't doing this. Because it's either you don't have anything going on within 50 feet of a county road, which some of these towns have all county roads, they really will, or they don't know the process. We actually reached out to the planning board chairs and the zoning officers, or the enforcement officers, to make sure they understood the process. And we've seen a lot more participation. In fact, some of those communities out kind of the northeastern section who hadn't ever done one of these in their entire lives, we walked them through the process, and I think they actually have appreciated it. So we're seeing more than ever.
Okay.
I get them all the time, and I love it. It really does. It gets me right up to knowing what's going on and being able to contact the board more. So I appreciate it.
So anyway, that has been a lot more increase, but I think, again, very valuable. Also, we have been working through the snowmobile clubs. We have a meeting tonight if anyone's interested in participating. Thankfully, last year was a bit of a rescue for our snowmobile clubs. As a reminder, we have 10 snowmobile clubs in our county. The county, our office, planning office, oversees the grant program that the state pays them to maintain their trails. And so all the funding from the program goes through our office and then is distributed to the 10 clubs. And there's an accountability structure that we work to, again, with a lot of help from Veronica, work to put together so that we understand it and we can tell the state they're doing it the correct way. 2 years ago and the year before this last winter were pretty terrible for the snowmobile clubs, and some of them were considering folding up shop. Thankfully, we did have a good winter last year, and we'll hopefully have another, for their sake, we hope there's another one this year. But we do have an annual meeting with them, which again is happening tonight. All 10 clubs have been attending.
Where's that?
It'll be right here in this room. If you want to come, let me know. We do beat them. So we couldn't get anyone to come, I'm going to be totally honest. And then we ended up offering dinner. And we got 100% attendance.
Carrot at the end of the stick. Question?
Yes, so do we need a motion to amend based on what you just looked at, what you meant?
Oh, for the...
A motion to amend.
For the revenue for
ARPA.
Oh, no,
That was government.
general government committee did that, because according to the legislative rules, strategic initiatives is still under general government. So
Okay.
they took care of it.
So it doesn't affect this budget in that we're gonna move, okay.
Right.
No, that's all I got.
A couple of things I'd just like to touch base on. Again, I think it's real important that everyone here understands. Obviously, with the infrastructure conversation you've been hearing every month, last month, this committee was provided with that SOCRIS packet, which I think had a lot of really great information. That has obviously been a huge focus of my department, specifically our infrastructure specialist, Mr. Lombardo. There are a couple small changes that you very well may have asked about this year and last year, and some of that is that with the broadband project, we expect to have a lot of on-site oversight of what's going on. There will be some reimbursement needed for that. We do have the tourism ban, which the folks there, if we can, will be using, but there is going to be some additional work needed. Also, with everything going on with the infrastructure study, where we're going to all of the different communities, meeting with their wastewater plant directors, there's also a lot of out of the office stuff there too. So I did bump that a little bit. Outside of that, there's not a lot of increases. I try to keep it pretty close. But I'll take any questions if there's other stuff. I got a lot of our points here. You hear every month. So.
Frank?
A little concerned, and it has nothing to do with any one person or anything, but it's on the deputy director on page 121. We went from 56,000, which I understand maybe because it was halfway through the year or something like that, to requesting 64,000, to finally going to 75,000. Now that's a $19,000 jump in pay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Then
Sorry,
my point on this whole, both of these positions, okay, because both of these positions were created in 2025. And yes, they passed through resolutions that were on the floor. And I doubt very much if either one of us may have voted for that, okay? But we're talking about going from an increase of $151,000 to actually an increase should be of $95,000. Okay, so it actually comes out to, if you look at the differences, it's about a $100,000 jump. Now, and you guys know that I have always been for giving out raises to everybody and anything that we can. But the increased government, I have always been against increasing government when there's possibilities of people that are within that department that I feel are capable of handling the positions that they're creating. Okay? Because I feel that we have department heads and we have people that are underneath them and people that are within that department that can handle those positions. Because I think we hire the best, we promote the best, but to create is not something that I will ever be in favor of when I feel that we have the best in those positions already. So, I mean, I, for one, would, it come budget time in December, because I don't have a vote on this committee, okay? To move those positions, or at least decrease the increase in the salaries, okay? in some way, shape, or form. But that, that's my opinion, and I know everybody's doing a good job, but it's just the increase in government.
The difference in the numbers is the base salary set when the position was created and what it would be for 2026 versus the reason it's higher now is because the person was actually hired and that's the salary that was set by the Finance Personnel Committee based on experience. When we have an unfilled position that's created new, we always budget the lowest possible starting rate. But if in professional positions, if somebody's got experience and years under their belt, the department head and the committee have some leeway as to where that salary gets set. That is why you have a difference there.
Right. I agree though. I mean, it just seems like a big jump. This is a person well-versed with a master's degree in this. What's...
Well, there has been, if I can be clear, there's been no increase year over year outside of mandated through the contractual. This is the salary that they were hired at last year. There was no additional salary increase for this year.
Dirty. Any other questions? Hearing none. Those in favor? Second? All in favor? Oh, opposed? And, okay, one opposed? Passes. Thank you.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, everybody. Budgets are always, but gotten through at least this one. I'm not trying to phone, but I was phone if my daughter died. You don't have your